Imagine waking up 20 years from now and realizing that your biggest dream never failed because you never even gave it a chance. Your future self is watching every decision you make today, knowing that one choice could change everything or cost you the life you were meant to live. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is a decision you're too afraid to make today? The life you want may be hiding behind the very fear you've been running from for years. Years from now, the opportunities you ignored may become the memories that keep you awake at night. The life you've always dreamed of isn't disappearing all at once. It's slipping away one delayed decision at a time. Most people believe they have plenty of time. They wake up each morning assuming there will always be another day, another week, another year to start working toward the life they dream about. It's an easy assumption to make because time moves quietly. It doesn't announce itself when it leaves. It doesn't make noise when another hour disappears. It simply keeps moving forward whether you're paying attention or not. And because of that, many people spend their lives treating time as if it's unlimited. Think about how carefully people protect their money. They compare prices, create budgets, and worry about every dollar they spend, yet those same people will waste entire hours scrolling through things they won't remember tomorrow. They will spend days procrastinating on goals that matter to them. They will postpone important decisions because they believe they can always do them later. The strange thing is that money lost can often be earned back. Opportunities may return, possessions can be replaced, time never comes back. Every single day you are given 24 hours, no more and no less. The most successful person in the world gets the same amount of time as the person who never reaches their potential. The difference isn't in the number of hours they receive. The difference is in how they choose to use them. One person invests their time into growth, learning, and meaningful action. Another person allows distractions and excuses to consume it. After weeks, months, and years, those choices create completely different lives. The truth is that your future is being built right now, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Every hour you spend improving yourself is an investment. Every hour you spend avoiding responsibility is a cost. The results may not appear immediately, but they are accumulating beneath the surface. Just as a tree grows from a seed that remains unseen for a long time, your future is growing from the decisions you make each day. Many people wait for the perfect moment before they begin. They tell themselves they will start when they feel ready, when they have more confidence, when circumstances improve, or when life becomes easier. But time does not stop and wait for readiness. While you are waiting, days continue to pass. Seasons continue to change. Life continues to move forward. The perfect moment rarely arrives because action is what creates momentum, not waiting. Imagine looking back 10 years from now. Think about the goals you have today, the dreams you carry, and the opportunities in front of you. The person you become during those 10 years will largely be determined by how you use your time starting now. Not next month, not next year, now. Every decision matters because every decision represents a portion of your life. When you waste time, you're not just losing minutes. You're giving away pieces of a future that could have been different. Time is silent, but its impact is powerful. It rewards discipline and exposes neglect. It magnifies small actions repeated consistently. It turns daily habits into lifelong outcomes. Whether you realize it or not, the clock is always moving, and with every passing moment, you're either building the life you want or moving further away from it. The value of time isn't measured by how much of it you have left. It's measured by what you choose to do with the time you have right now. People often look at successful individuals and assume that their achievements came from a single breakthrough moment. They imagine one big decision, one lucky opportunity, one extraordinary event that changed everything overnight. What they don't see are the thousands of small choices that happen long before anyone noticed the results. They don't see the early mornings, the repeated efforts, the tiny improvements, and the consistent habits that slowly built the foundation for everything that came later. Success rarely arrives as a dramatic explosion. More often it arrives as the result of small actions repeated so many times that they become impossible to ignore. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're shaping your future through your habits. The person you become is not determined by what you occasionally do. It's determined by what you repeatedly do. One healthy meal won't transform your body. One workout won't make you fit. One chapter won't make you knowledgeable. One day of hard work won't make you successful. But when those actions are repeated day after day, week after week, and year after year, they create results that seem extraordinary to everyone watching from the outside. The challenge is that habits often feel insignificant in the moment. Reading 10 pages of a book doesn't feel life-changing. Spending 30 minutes learning a new skill doesn't seem remarkable. Saving a small amount of money today doesn't feel like wealth is being created. Because the immediate reward is small, many people underestimate the power of consistency. They want dramatic progress. They want instant results. They want proof that their effort is working. When that proof doesn't appear quickly, they lose patience and quit. Nature provides a powerful lesson about this. When a seed is planted in the ground, nothing appears to happen for a while. Days pass, sometimes weeks pass. Yet beneath the surface, important work is taking place. habits, roots are developing, strength is being built, a foundation is forming. The growth is invisible, but it is essential. Human progress works the same way. Many of the most important changes happen long before they become visible. The person who keeps showing up eventually experiences results that seem sudden to everyone else, even though they were being built quietly all along. Small habits are like votes for the type of person you want to become. Every action casts a vote toward a future identity. When you choose to exercise, you're voting for the healthy version of yourself. When you choose to study, you're voting for the knowledgeable version of yourself. When you choose discipline over distraction, you're voting for the successful version of yourself. No single vote determines the outcome, but the accumulation of votes eventually makes the result unavoidable. Many people focus too much on goals and not enough on systems. Goals are important because they provide direction, but systems are what create progress. Imagine two people who want to climb a mountain. One talks about reaching the summit every day but never starts walking. The other focuses on taking one step after another. Over time, the person focused on the process moves higher and higher, while the person focused only on the destination remains in the same place. The future belongs to those who respect the process enough to continue even when the results are still invisible. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that small choices don't matter. They tell themselves that one missed workout isn't important. One day of procrastination won't hurt. 1 hour wasted isn't a big deal. Individually, those choices may seem harmless. The problem is that habits compound. Just as money grows through compound interest, your actions accumulate over time. Small positive habits create positive momentum. Small negative habits create negative momentum. The direction may not be obvious today, but it becomes impossible to ignore after months and years. Think about a plane leaving an airport. If its course is adjusted by only a few degrees, the change seems insignificant at first. But after traveling a great distance, a tiny adjustment can cause the plane to arrive in a completely different location. Human habits work the same way. Tiny daily actions may appear insignificant, but over time they can completely alter the destination of your life. The future is often shaped by choices so small that most people never pay attention to them. Consistency is powerful because it removes the need for constant motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired, other days you don't. If your progress depends entirely on motivation, you'll spend much of your life standing still. Habits create reliability. They allow you to take action even when emotions aren't cooperating. They create structure during difficult periods. They help you continue moving forward when enthusiasm fades. There will be days when progress feels slow. Days when effort seems unrewarded. Days when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels overwhelming. During those moments, many people convince themselves that their actions aren't making a difference. But growth is rarely linear. Results often appear after long periods of seemingly invisible progress. The work you do today may not produce immediate rewards, but it is still shaping the person you are becoming. Every skill you've ever admired was built through repetition. Every achievement you've ever respected was supported by discipline. Every successful individual developed habits that aligned with the future they wanted to create. They didn't become extraordinary because of one perfect day. They became extraordinary because they respected the power of ordinary days. The quality of your life is often a reflection of the quality of your habits. The things you do repeatedly become the things you become. Your future is not being decided by occasional moments of brilliance. It is being quietly constructed through daily routines, repeated behaviors, and small choices that most people overlook. Each day presents another opportunity to cast votes for the person you want to become, another opportunity to strengthen the habits that move you closer to your goals, another opportunity to build a future that reflects your highest potential through actions that may seem small today but become powerful through consistency and time. One of the biggest myths people believe is that motivation comes first and action comes second. They spend years waiting for a feeling that never arrives consistently. They tell themselves they will start exercising when they feel motivated. They will begin learning a new skill when they feel inspired. They will chase their dreams when they finally have enough confidence. What they don't realize is that motivation is often the result of action, not the cause of it. Waiting for motivation is like standing beside a car and expecting it to move before you turn on the engine. Most people think successful individuals wake up every day feeling excited, focused, and ready to conquer challenges. The truth is much simpler and far more human. They experience doubt. They experience fear. They experience days when they don't feel like doing the work. The difference is that they don't allow those feelings to decide their actions. They understand that emotions change constantly, but commitments must remain steady. Think about how many opportunities are missed because people are waiting to feel ready. Someone wants to start a business but waits until they feel confident. Someone wants to speak in public but waits until they are no longer nervous. Someone wants to write a book but waits for inspiration to strike. Years pass and nothing changes because readiness was never the requirement. Action was. Confidence was never the starting point. Confidence was always something earned along the way. Fear has a way of convincing people that they need more preparation before they begin. It whispers that they should wait a little longer, learn a little more, and plan a little better. While preparation has value, there comes a point where preparation becomes another form of avoidance. Some people spend so much time getting ready that they never actually start. They confuse planning with progress. They confuse thinking with doing. They confuse intention with execution. The reality is that nobody feels completely ready when they step into something meaningful. Every person who achieved something significant had moments of uncertainty. Every successful entrepreneur launched a project without knowing exactly how things would turn out. Every athlete entered competition despite the possibility of failure. Every artist shared their work despite the possibility of criticism. Courage was never the absence of fear. Courage was the decision to move forward while fear was still present. Action creates information. Waiting does not. When you take a step, you learn something. When you try, you gain experience. When you fail, you discover lessons. When you succeed, you build momentum. But when you remain frozen, nothing changes. The same questions remain unanswered. The same fears remain unchallenged. The same doubts continue to grow because they are never tested against reality. Imagine standing at the edge of a swimming pool. You can spend hours thinking about the water. You can analyze the temperature. You can read books about swimming. You can watch videos of other people swimming. But none of that teaches you what stepping into the water teaches you within seconds. Action has a way of replacing uncertainty with understanding. The things that seem terrifying from a distance often become manageable once you engage with them directly. Many people underestimate their ability to adapt. They believe they need all the answers before they begin. Life rarely works that way. Most answers reveal themselves only after movement begins. Clarity often comes from action. Direction often comes from experience. The path becomes visible to those who are willing to walk it, not those who stand still waiting for perfect certainty. There is something powerful that happens when you take action despite hesitation. You begin to prove something to yourself. Every completed task becomes evidence that you are capable. Every promise you keep strengthens trust in your own character. Confidence isn't built through positive thinking alone. It is built through repeated experiences where you demonstrate to yourself that you can do difficult things. The more evidence you collect, the stronger your belief becomes. This is why waiting for confidence is such a trap. Confidence grows from action. It grows from effort. It grows from overcoming obstacles. A person who never takes action never gathers the evidence needed to believe in themselves. They remain stuck in a cycle where they want confidence before they act. Confidence can only arrive after action has already begun. Motivation is unpredictable. Some mornings you wake up energized. Other mornings you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your progress depends entirely on motivation, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline offers something more reliable. Discipline allows you to continue moving even when excitement disappears. It allows you to stay committed when emotions fluctuate. It creates stability during moments when motivation is nowhere to be found. The people who achieve remarkable things are often not the most motivated. They are simply the most consistent. They understand that success is built during the days when they don't feel like showing up. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired. The true test comes when enthusiasm fades and commitment is all that remains. Those are the moments that shape character. Those are the moments that separate dreams from reality. Perfection is another obstacle that keeps people from taking action. They want the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions. They believe that if everything isn't ideal, they shouldn't begin. But perfection is an illusion. Every journey starts with mistakes. Every skill begins with awkwardness. Every achievement begins with imperfect effort. Progress belongs to those who are willing to be beginners. The first attempt is rarely impressive. The first draft is rarely great. The first workout is rarely easy. The first presentation is rarely flawless. Yet every expert was once inexperienced. Every master was once a novice. The difference is that they accepted the discomfort of being a beginner long enough to become something more. Action has a unique ability to transform fear. Many fears grow larger inside the imagination than they ever become in reality. The longer you avoid something, the more power it seems to have over you. The moment you confront it, that power begins to shrink. You discover that challenges are often less intimidating once they are faced directly. The unknown becomes known. The uncertainty becomes manageable. The obstacle becomes a lesson. Life rewards movement. Opportunities appear for people who take action. Skills develop through practice. Relationships grow through effort. Success emerges from persistence. The world responds to those who engage with it. Every meaningful achievement begins with a decision to move despite uncertainty, to act despite fear, to start before confidence arrives, and to trust that growth will come through the process of doing rather than through endless waiting for the perfect feeling to appear. There is a place where every dream begins to become real, and there is a place where every dream slowly dies. The strange thing is that these two places are separated by a very thin line. On one side there is comfort, on the other side there is growth. Most people spend their entire lives choosing comfort because it feels safe, familiar, and predictable. They stay where they know the outcome. They avoid situations that make them nervous. They protect themselves from failure, rejection, embarrassment, and uncertainty. Yet while they are protecting themselves from discomfort, they are also protecting themselves from the possibility of becoming more than they are today. Comfort is not dangerous because it feels bad. Comfort is dangerous because it feels good. It whispers to you in a calm voice. It tells you that there is always tomorrow. It encourages you to stay where things are easy. It convinces you that avoiding challenges is a form of safety. What it never tells you is the price you will eventually pay. That price is often invisible at first. It arrives slowly. It appears in the form of missed opportunities, unrealized potential, and dreams that never leave the imagination. Every person has a comfort zone. It is the collection of routines, habits, environments, and experiences that feel familiar. Inside that zone, life feels manageable because there are few surprises. You know what to expect. You know how to respond. You know the risks are limited, but growth has never been designed to happen there. Growth begins when you step beyond what feels familiar and enter territory where outcomes are uncertain. Think back to the most important lessons you've learned in life. Very few of them came from moments of comfort. Most came from challenges. Most came from situations that tested your patience, your courage, your resilience, or your determination. The moments that shaped you were often the moments that stretched you. They forced you to adapt. They demanded that you become stronger than you were before. The human mind naturally seeks safety. This instinct has helped people survive for thousands of years. But in the modern world, the greatest threats are often not physical. The greatest threat is becoming trapped by fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of looking foolish, fear of not being good enough. These fears create invisible walls around people. They convince them to remain in environments that no longer challenge them. They encourage people to settle for less than they are capable of achieving. Many people spend years dreaming about a different life. They imagine starting a business, changing careers, learning new skills, improving their health, or pursuing a passion they care deeply about. Yet despite wanting these things, they remain exactly where they are. The reason is rarely a lack of ability. More often, it is an unwillingness to tolerate the discomfort required for change. They want the rewards of growth without experiencing the struggle that creates growth. Every transformation requires a period of discomfort. There is no exception. If you want to become physically stronger, your muscles must experience stress. If you want to become mentally stronger, your mind must face challenges. If you want to become emotionally stronger, you must learn how to navigate difficult experiences. Strength is not created by avoiding pressure. Strength is created by learning how to respond to pressure. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal must endure intense heat before it becomes stronger. Without the heat, it remains weak. Human character develops in a similar way. Challenges refine you. Difficulties reveal parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Obstacles force you to discover abilities that comfort would never allow you to uncover. One of the greatest misunderstandings about successful people is the belief that they are fearless. The truth is that most successful people feel fear just like everyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let fear make their decisions. They understand that fear often points toward growth. The things that scare you the most are sometimes the things that have the greatest potential to change your life. Think about the opportunities you've avoided because they felt uncomfortable, the conversations you postponed, the risks you refused to take, the ideas you never shared, the goals you never pursued. Every one of those moments represented a crossroads. One path led toward comfort. The other led toward growth. Every time comfort wins, potential loses. There is a hidden cost to avoiding discomfort. Each time you retreat from a challenge, you reinforce the belief that you cannot handle it. The mind begins to accept limitation as truth. Confidence decreases. Self-doubt increases. The comfort zone becomes smaller and smaller. Activities that once seemed manageable start to feel intimidating because avoidance has trained the mind to expect weakness rather than strength. The opposite is also true. Every time you face discomfort, you expand your comfort zone. Every challenge you confront becomes evidence that you are capable of more than you previously believed. Confidence grows because it is supported by experience. Self-belief strengthens because it is built on proof. What once seemed impossible eventually becomes normal. Growth rarely announces itself while it is happening. Often you do not realize you are changing until you look back. The challenge that once terrified you becomes routine. The skill that once felt impossible becomes natural. The obstacle that once seemed overwhelming becomes a story you tell about how far you've come. Transformation often feels slow in the moment and remarkable in retrospect. There are countless examples of people who changed their lives simply because they were willing to endure temporary discomfort. They studied while others relaxed. They practiced while others procrastinated. They accepted rejection while others avoided risk. They embraced uncertainty while others demanded guarantees. Over time, these choices created opportunities that never become available to those who remain trapped in comfort. The uncomfortable conversation you are avoiding may improve an important relationship. The difficult project you keep postponing may lead to a breakthrough opportunity. The skill you are hesitant to learn may completely transform your future. The risk you are afraid to take may open doors you cannot currently imagine. Many of the rewards people seek are hidden behind walls of temporary discomfort. Life has a way of presenting the same lesson repeatedly until it is learned. The challenge you avoid today often returns tomorrow in a different form. The fear you refuse to confront continues to influence your decisions. The growth you postpone remains necessary. Avoidance may provide temporary relief, but it rarely provides lasting freedom. One day everyone faces a choice. The choice between the discomfort of growth and the discomfort of regret. Growth is difficult because it demands effort, courage, and persistence. Regret is difficult because it demands acceptance of opportunities that can never be reclaimed. One form of discomfort is temporary. The other can remain for years. The life you want is rarely found in familiar territory. It exists beyond current limitations. It exists beyond old habits. It exists beyond excuses, fears, and doubts. The future version of yourself, the stronger version, the wiser version, the more capable version, is waiting on the other side of challenges you have not yet accepted. Every step beyond your comfort zone is a step toward becoming that person. Every act of courage expands what is possible. Every moment of discomfort becomes an investment in future strength. Every challenge embraced becomes proof that growth has always been available to those willing to leave behind the safety of what is familiar and walk into the uncertainty of what they might become. There are many kinds of pain in life. There is the pain of failure. There is the pain of rejection. There is the pain of hard work, sacrifice, discipline, and struggle. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid these forms of pain. They avoid taking risks because they don't want to fail. They avoid speaking up because they don't want to be judged. They avoid chasing big dreams because they don't want to experience disappointment. What many people don't realize is that when you spend your life running away from one kind of pain, you often end up walking directly into another kind of pain that is far heavier and far more difficult to carry. That pain is regret. Regret is different from failure. Failure hurts in the moment. It can be uncomfortable, embarrassing, and frustrating. It can make you question yourself. It can challenge your confidence. But failure is temporary. It teaches lessons. It reveals weaknesses. It creates opportunities to improve. Failure gives you information. It gives you experience. It gives you a chance to grow stronger. Regret is different. Regret doesn't teach nearly as much because regret is often connected to things that never happened. It is connected to opportunities that were never taken, conversations that were never started, risks that were never attempted, and dreams that were never pursued. Failure says, at least you tried. Regret asks, what if you had? That question has the power to follow a person for years. Imagine yourself 20 years from now. Imagine sitting quietly and reflecting on your life. Think about the memories you would like to have. Think about the achievements you hope to accomplish. Think about the experiences you want to live. Now imagine looking back and realizing that many of those possibilities never became reality, not because you lacked ability, but because you never gave yourself a chance. That realization can be heavier than any temporary failure. Most fears lose power after they are faced. Most failures lose their sting after enough time passes. Regret often becomes stronger with time because the opportunities attached to it may never return. The older people become, the more valuable time appears. The years begin to move faster. The opportunities become fewer. The realization grows that certain chapters of life cannot be revisited. Many people believe that avoiding failure protects them. In reality, avoiding failure often means avoiding growth. Every successful person has a collection of failures behind them. Every accomplished athlete has lost competitions. Every entrepreneur has made mistakes. Every artist has created work that didn't succeed. Every leader has faced criticism. The path to achievement is rarely smooth. It is filled with setbacks, disappointments, and moments of doubt. What separates successful people from others is not the absence of failure. It is their willingness to accept failure as part of the process. Failure is often proof that you were brave enough to try. Failure means you entered the arena. Failure means you tested your limits. Failure means you challenged yourself. Failure means you cared enough about something to take action. Regret often means none of those things happened. One of the greatest tragedies in life is untapped potential. The world is filled with talented individuals who never discovered what they were capable of because they never gave themselves permission to try. They waited for certainty. They waited for confidence. They waited for perfect conditions. While they waited, years passed. Potential means very little without action. A person can possess extraordinary talent, intelligence, creativity, and ambition. None of those qualities matter if they remain unused. The graveyard of unrealized dreams is often filled with people who had enormous potential but allowed fear to become stronger than action. Fear has a remarkable ability to disguise itself as logic. It tells people they are being realistic when they are actually being cautious. It tells people they need more preparation when they are really avoiding discomfort. It convinces them that waiting is wise when waiting is simply delaying growth. Many people spend years negotiating with their fears. They say maybe next year. They say maybe when things calm down. They say maybe when I'm more experienced. They say maybe when I have more confidence. The problem is that confidence rarely arrives before action. Confidence is earned through action. Experience is gained through action. Growth is created through action. Waiting often produces more waiting. One day, many people wake up and realize that the years they thought they had available are gone. The opportunities they assumed would always be there have disappeared. The dreams that once felt exciting now feel distant. Not because they were impossible, but because they were postponed repeatedly. The most painful regrets are rarely about mistakes. They are about silence. The business that was never started, the book that was never written, the skill that was never learned, the relationship that was never pursued, the opportunity that was never accepted, the passion that was never explored. These things remain unfinished stories in the mind. They continue asking questions. They continue creating alternate versions of reality that can never be fully answered. People who take risks often experience setbacks. They experience rejection. They experience moments when things don't go according to plan, yet many of them possess something valuable, clarity. They know what happened because they acted. They know what worked and what didn't. They know what they learned. They know they gave themselves a chance. There is peace in knowing you tried, even when the outcome isn't perfect, even when success takes longer than expected, even when the journey becomes difficult. Trying creates closure. Avoidance creates uncertainty, and uncertainty often becomes regret. Life is not designed to provide guarantees. There are no promises that every effort will succeed. There are no assurances that every dream will become reality. There are no contracts guaranteeing that every risk will produce rewards. But there is one guarantee that applies to everyone. If you never try, the outcome is already decided. Nothing changes, nothing grows, nothing improves. The possibility disappears before it ever has a chance to exist. When people reach the later stages of life, many discover something surprising. The moments they treasure most are rarely the moments when they played it safe. They remember adventure. They remember challenges. They remember times when they stepped beyond their comfort zones. They remember moments when they acted despite uncertainty. Those experiences become stories. Those risks become memories. Those attempts become proof that they truly live. A meaningful life is not built through the avoidance of discomfort. It is built through engagement with possibility. It is built through participation. It is built through courage. The fear of failure often appears much larger before action than after action. The mind imagines worst-case scenarios. It creates obstacles that may never exist. It magnifies uncertainty. Yet when action begins, reality often becomes far less intimidating than imagination. The person who starts discovers lessons. The person who tries gains wisdom. The person who risks grows stronger. The person who fails learns. The person who continues develops resilience. Every one of those outcomes has value. Regret rarely offers those gifts. Regret often arrives quietly. It doesn't appear immediately after a missed opportunity. It appears later. Sometimes years later. It emerges during moments of reflection. It surfaces when someone realizes what might have been possible if they had trusted themselves enough to begin. That is why courage matters so much. Not because courage guarantees success. Not because courage eliminates fear. But because courage protects people from living under the weight of unanswered questions. The question, what if I fail, may feel frightening today. But the question, what if I had tried, can echo for decades. Failure may leave bruises. Failure may leave lessons. Failure may leave temporary disappointment. Regret has a way of staying much longer because it attaches itself to possibilities that were never explored, talents that were never developed, opportunities that were never seized, versions of yourself that never had the chances to exist, because fear was allowed to make decisions that only action was qualified to make. I can't write exactly in his personal voice, but here is a calm, humble, reflective version with the same emotional motivation feeling. A calm soul is not a soul that has never been hurt. Sometimes the calmest people are the ones who have walked through the loudest storms and decided not to become noise. They have known loss. They have known disappointment. They have known the strange silence that comes after someone leaves, after life changes, after a dream breaks in a way nobody else can fully understand. But somewhere inside that pain, they made a quiet decision. They decided not to let the world turn their heart into stone. They decided not to answer cruelty with cruelty. They decided not to let every wound become a weapon. And that kind of decision may look look simple from the outside, but it takes a great amount of strength. The world is very loud. People rush to judge, they rush to react, they rush to prove they are right, to win arguments, to show power, to hide weakness. But real power does not always need to announce itself. Sometimes real power is taking a breath before speaking. Sometimes it is walking away from a conversation that only wants to destroy your peace. Sometimes it is knowing the truth in your heart and not needing everyone else to believe it. A calm soul is hard to defeat because it does not give painful control. It feels pain, yes. It gets tired. It gets lonely. It has moments when the past returns like an old song in an empty room. But it does not surrender its goodness to those moments. It does not say, because I suffered, I must now make others suffer. It says quietly, I suffered, so I understand why kindness matters. That is a rare thing. To stay gentle in a hard world is not weakness. To stay humble when you could become proud is not weakness. To stay grounded when life gives you reasons to fall apart is not weakness. These are signs of someone who has learned that peace is more valuable than pride, that dignity is more powerful than revenge, that silence can sometimes protect the soul better than 1,000 explanations. Not everyone will understand your calm. Some people will think you are weak because you do not fight back the way they expect. Some will think you have no answer because you choose not to argue. Some will mistake your patience for permission, but your calm does not belong to them. Your peace is not for display. It is something you build inside yourself day by day after every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment you almost gave up but didn't. And you must protect that peace, not with anger but with boundaries. You can be kind and still step away. You can be forgiving and still remember the lesson. You can love people and still refuse to let them bring chaos into your life. A peaceful heart does not mean accepting disrespect. It means knowing when your soul needs distance. Life will continue to test you. It will bring people who do not understand your heart. It will bring days when you feel unseen. It will bring memories that still hurt. But each time you choose patience over bitterness, wisdom over reaction, peace over pride, something inside you becomes stronger. You become less controlled by the noise around you. You stop chasing every approval. You stop explaining your worth to people who only see what they want to see. You begin to move through life with a quiet kind of confidence, not loud, not perfect, just steady. And maybe that is what true strength looks like. A person who has been hurt but still opens the door gently. A person who is lost but still believes in love. A person who has been disappointed but still chooses honesty. A person who walks through a noisy world with a calm heart, not because life was easy, but because they learned that the soul becomes powerful when it refuses to become what hurt it.